ESPN welcomes you to one of the PBA's favorite stops on the tour, Medford, Oregon. Tucked in the Rogue Valley near the Cascade Range, and they embrace this sport and this tour. And the locals have been closely connected to this game through one of their own, 22-time titleist. Marshall Holman makes his home here in Medford, and earlier the Hall of Famer rolled out our ceremonial first ball, and drop them all, Marshall. He will join us live in match number 2. And glad to witness for our live coverage of the Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic. I'm Rob Stone. Wonderful crowds here all week, including here live on Sunday. This tournament serves as a wonderful springboard to next week's Tournament of Champions in Las Vegas, the second major of the season. Joining me now, 13-time titleist Randy Peterson in this tournament, named after the late, great Earl Anthony. How can we even put in perspective how much he meant to this sport?
Well, Rob, when you talk bowling to folks that don't follow the sport, there's always two names they remember. One is Dick Weber, the other is Earl Anthony. Earl, arguably the greatest player to ever throw a bowling ball, winning 10 majors. Rob, 15 years in a row of winning at least one title. His intensity was unmatched. For me, the big thing was that Earl would lead tournaments by hundreds of pins when no other left-hander would make match play.
Anthony, the greatest lefty ever. There's no debate about that. Patrick Allen is the best lefty on the tour right now. He's making his 4th consecutive single show today.
And Patrick looking to repeat what he did last week, and that's climb the ladder to win again.
Your number 3 seed, the defending champion here in Medford, Texan Wes Malott, in search of his 2nd title this campaign.
And how about Bill O'Neill making his 5th telecast of the season, however, still looking for that elusive first win.
And Tommy Jones makes his TV debut this season. It is his first time as a number 1 seed in a Stepladder final.
And in our 3rd match, it's the Women's Series finale. Stephanie Nation taking on Wendy McPherson. Stephanie, winner earlier this season in Omaha.
And we take a look at our men's Stepladder bracket, and we begin with the lone lefty, the 4th seed, Patrick Allen, taking on defending champ, Wes Malott. The crowd in Medford into it early this Sunday morning here on the West Coast. And the lefty, PA, Hoss, Patrick Allen from Wesley Chapel, Florida, will bat leadoff for us. This is Allen's 4th consecutive telecast. He climbed the ladder last week in Reno to earn his 11th Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title.
Long time. Let's go.
Likes to talk to himself. And he takes his time on the lanes as well.
Well, there's nothing new. We saw a lot of that last week. And Rob, you and I spoke with Patrick last night, and he talked about building a spot for himself on the oil pattern today. Being the only southpaw out there, he would have it all to himself all day long.
Here is Wes Malott, recently moved to the Austin, Texas area, the defending champion here in Medford. And Malott, well, don't be surprised if he spent some of his time this week around town with a real estate agent.
Well, to be able to do that anytime you get a chance to do that's obviously, a great thing. And to be able to do it here in Medford is going to be even more special because they treat us well. The fans here are great, and it's just a great atmosphere, and I do really well here, so it's going to be a fun day.
As we mentioned, won here last season. The defending champion as the 3 seed here today. Back-to-back jacks for the Big Nasty.
And Rob, we talked about what Patrick Allen was going to do to try to help his side of the lane. The right-handers were in a unanimous agreement that during practice, none of them would get any further left than the 3rd arrow. This pattern was very flat. It broke down very quickly. We saw guys in the later part of rounds lofting the ball over the gutter cap. The right-handers wanted to make sure they would never get that deep. I think they tried to build them a spot as well.
It's almost 1 versus 3. PA being that one, and you're talking about the righties. It was almost like a Survivor-esque alliance. The righty tribe is coming together, and we're tired of this lefty rolling around here. But PA said, you know what? I went up the ladder and won as the only lefty. Same deal this week. But I need to develop something Sunday to win. And he threw two lines out, which I found interesting. He said, I got to throw a snow tire at 10 and plastic at 15. Explain that for me.
I will, right after he converts the 6-pin. Well, Rob, what he means by that is the snow tire or the piece of charcoal at 10, that's going to try to develop a hook spot for him. The plastic ball at 15 is going to try to push oil down the lane and create holds. So, you know, sometimes you try to look for one, and Patrick tried to create both. And interesting, to start this match, he's using two different bowling balls. He's using a Hammer Blue Vibe on the right lane and the red Hammer Vibe on the left lane. He told me that the red Vibe is more angular in the back part of the lane. And you can see that motion right there late, right before the ball gets to the 1-2 pocket, a little bit of a snap. But we'll get into the oil pattern a bit later, but I will tell you this, that in talking with the players, they said that this oil pattern resembled a U.S. Open oil pattern in that very flat and very difficult, and that's why the players throughout practice were trying to create a little more mistake area.
They're rolling on the Earl Anthony oil pattern, the only time it'll be used this season. So here is Malott to open up his third frame. He has started with a pair of strikes. Malott, number 2 on the Player of the Year points list right now. If he finishes second or better, he will be number 1, leapfrogging Norm Duke. Good start for the Big Nasty.
And Wes Malott using the same ball on both lanes, the Cell Pearl by Rotogrip. And boy, as he dialed in early, you could see right around the third arrow to start getting it outside the 10th board, that dark rangefinder down the lane. And that was key this week, is getting the ball consistently to the break point. Boy, and that ball faced up beautifully. Wes Malott perfect through 3. Patrick Allen has not missed the pocket, but only 1 strike through 3 frames.
Opening ham bone for Malott. The conclusion of Wes versus PA when ESPN's live coverage returns to Southern Oregon.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by H&R Block. Go to PBA.com and sign up to win tax services for 5 years and $5,000. H&R Block. You've got people. By Lumber Liquidators. Hardwood flooring for less. By Bayer Aspirin. Bayer. Expect wonders. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save 15% on your car insurance. Visit geico.com.
Welcome back to live action here in Medford Classic. Wes Malott has just rolled his first spare of the afternoon. We begin the 6th. And he gets right back on the strike train. As we take a look at our Lumber Liquidators, no the wood, and this week the Earl Anthony oil pattern.
Yeah, and the only time this pattern will be used this season, the Earl Anthony pattern places a premium on execution and repetition, qualities which Earl Anthony exemplified, like I said earlier, very flat across the lane. The big thing is the players trying to get it down to the break point consistently.
40 feet long, and as you mentioned, a lot of the bowlers telling us yesterday that it really felt like a U.S. Open oil pattern, which is a high compliment.
Yeah, and right there, no 300 games this week. That just tells you how tough it is. When the greatest in the world don't have a 300 game for the week, you know they're tough.
PA looking for his 3rd strike of this match. He looked back immediately on the release.
That was worth the re-rack.
You know, and he made the change that I thought he would make, going to the red Vibe, which is a little bit more angular down the lane. His previous shots on the right lane looked a bit weak down the lane, so he goes to the ball that hooks a bit more and just makes a bad shot.
This one's starting to slip away from Allen. This will be his 4th 9 spares should he pick this up, which he does. So 4 9 spares and 2 strikes, but no strikes in succession.
Spares might not cut today.
Patrick Allen in position round started with the front 7. He ended up shooting .264 to lock his spot for today's telecast. A very tight position round.
What I find amazing is this is Patrick Allen's 4th consecutive show. He made 4 shows in a row at the same time last season. The problem was after this show, you didn't see him on TV again.
I think the biggie, though, Rob, is that the last 2 weeks there was no other southpaw in the top 16. And Patrick's very proud of the fact that he was continuing to make telecasts.
Mike Scroggins had a good start to the season as a lefty, and he's dropped off a little bit, and it's been Patrick Allen driving the lefty train.
Parker Bone III.
Right.
A great start to the season. Rhino Page started slowly. He finally won about a month ago.
And another 9 spare. That's good for league bowling, but not here.
It's not making a stand there.
Well, and not when your opponent starts with a front 4 and he's already in the 220s. And Wes Malott making his 6th telecast of the season, a front runner, the Player of the Year race right now. And you don't want the big nasty getting a big lead on you.
And he could do that by the end of today. Meaning big lead in the Player of the Year points race.
Yeah.
And we take a look at the latest Denny's Player of the Year points race. And Norm Duke's still on top for now, but Wes Malott, if he finishes 2nd today, he'll have 42 points, putting him in 1st. If he wins, he'll be up at 50, also in 1st place. You see Patrick Allen with a late run to move up into 5th. Lucky to avoid a 7-10 there.
Way too aggressive.
And Randy, he is almost at the point in this match where he can start playing with the lanes a little bit. And
well, I don't know if it's if I would deviate from the game plan right now, because first of all, in this tough oil pattern, it's too easy to start throwing open frames, and Patrick Allen can still strike out and shoot 220. Wes Malott with that spare there is in the 230s, and certainly no time to get complacent yet.
Oh. Okay.
So PA.
Throw good.
7th
Maybe.
on the money list, 4th on the average list. Step up for his effort in the 8th. The 04-05 Player of the Year. Down 41 late in match number 1. Not going to happen today.
Good shot, good shot.
Well, he's getting to the pocket, and the pins just aren't cooperating. And that was the other theme this week is, once you figured out how to get the ball to the pocket, you also had to find the right angle to get all 10 pins to go down, and Patrick's struggling with that today.
3rd time in the last 5 frames, it was the 7-pin that avoided going down. Oh, he's nailing the spares. Good spare workout today.
He's a pro. Pros make their spares.
They
buddy.
should, right?
It's fun to be here again, Medford.
He's getting in his Medford pops while he can. His time is coming to an end here today, I fear.
Wish you could have done more. Come on.
So PA takes a seat in the 9th. There's a look at Susie Anthony, the wife of the late, great Earl Anthony. Always nice to have her here in attendance.
Such a pleasant woman. It's always great to see her here.
Ruh-roh.
A little early.
Wide right. And again, the pattern shows up where you just can't spray it that far to the right. You know, maybe on a league pattern or a house pattern, you know, that ball ricochets off of that spot there and gets back to the pocket, but certainly not on this Earl pattern.
You heard him say a little early. Was that to the crowd or was that to himself?
Probably to the crowd. They got a little over anxious and somebody started cheering early.
Yeah, don't agitate that man. That's a note to the crowd. You want him on your side, especially if you're in a dark alley.
You're painting an awful picture of this guy.
I don't mean it in a violent way.
No,
I just mean I want him on my team. Right? I don't want to do anything in the world to agitate Wes Malott. I mean, you kidding me? I don't want to rile up that 6'50", 250-pound linebacker.
Making great shots, and Rob, I think if nothing else, you could probably outrun him.
Oh, I could do that. That's about the only thing. I don't think I could outlift him, but I'd try.
Another strike. Wes will be in the 240s. The best Patrick Allen can shoot, 216. But it's been a great run for Patrick Allen. 4 in a row. Winner last week. It's nice to get on those runs out here. You got to take advantage of them.
Come on, Messenger. Not enough oomph on that tap.
Get a ball real quick. This is it.
Malott to close it out, and that was a test throw. Malott moves on to match number 2. Win and return, he will take on Bill O'Neill in match number 2. We also have an Earl Anthony flashback when we return. This is the 8th consecutive year that the PBA has been here in Medford, Oregon. Another strong crowd as always, and we flash back to the year 1974. And the man this tournament is named after, the late, great Earl Anthony. This in the Tournament of Champions, his first TOC win there in Fairlawn, Ohio, as he took down Johnny Petragula 216 to 213. And all season long, we have been counting down the 50 greatest bowlers in PBA history, and we're going to refresh you throughout our broadcast today. There's 50 through 40, a tie at 40 between Baker and Berardi.
Bob Strampy, Mika Koivuniemi, the great Barry Asher, Johnny Gunther. I remember watching him growing up as a kid.
I want to remind you, next week we are in Las Vegas, where we are potentially going to see history be made as Norm Duke looks for an unprecedented 4th consecutive majors title. Again, live coverage of that one next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN, a special time 12:30. And number 9 on the all-time 50 greatest bowlers list is joining us right now here. Marshall Holman, thanks for having us here. And the big debate is going to be who is number 1, Earl Anthony, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Who was it in your book?
Well, I bowled with both of them, and Earl had such a great career in a condensed time period that overshadows a little bit of what Walter's done, but Walter has transcended different eras as far as bowling is concerned. I give the nod to Walter, but it's awfully close. You can make a case for either one of them.
It'll be a continuing debate next week in Vegas, where we'll see you again at the big gala dinner.
Looking forward to it.
And we are set for match number 2. There is Bill O'Neill to take on the big nasty Wes Malott. Marshall Holman joining us live in the booth for this segment. And Malott has been really on a tear this season. Marshall, what have you seen from his game?
Well, I call him Strike a Lot Malott, because he's got an incredible confidence and a great role that just enables him to bowl great week after week after week. And I'll tell you, if you think you're really, really, really good like Wes Malott does, then you've got it made.
Strike a lot, Malott. I'm writing that down right now. That's good. Let me force another thing on the bowling fans out there just to make more friends.
This guy's been striking a bit this season as well. Bill O'Neill just having a dream season. This is his 5th telecast.
Yeah, yet to win, but boy, certainly has the game to do it. Look at that ball go long. And, you know, I bowled in this tournament this week, Randy, and I left a lot of shots off my hand that felt pretty good, and they just sailed that extra 10 feet down the lane. You leave the 2, the 4, the 7, or the 10 just like that, and, you know, what seems like a pretty good shot is probably going to turn into an open frame. Yeah,
it didn't take a lot, a little left or right of your break point down the lane, and you look at a 2-4-10 or a big 4.
And an open frame to start off match number 2 for O'Neill, who is still in search of his first ever Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title. And Wes Malott off to a strong start in match 1, ditto here in match 2, and ditto to the fact that his competitor is not exactly hustling out of the gate.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, I went through a period from 1981 to 1983 of about a little over 2 years where I made a lot of telecasts and I couldn't win any games. It gets inside your brain.
What advice would you give Bill?
Well, he needs to just flush all the demons out and concentrate in the moment. You know, don't just forget about what was and concentrate on the next shot he's throwing. It sounds very simplistic, but it's difficult to do.
We talked to him about that last week and this week and weeks prior. And last week in Reno, he was telling us, you know what, I'm going in calmer. You know, this is good. I have to bowl out of the 5 hole, so I don't have to sit there and do the practice in the back. I don't have it looming in my head. I can get out there and what does he do? He goes and loses match number 1. So he's at the point, I think, where he's kind of trying anything.
Well, I'm sure.
Does he have to try awfully hard today to get by the defending champ, Wes Malott, who opens up with back-to-back jacks again.
Yeah, this Wes is just so much fun to watch. He's a big, strong man that doesn't have to force anything, and he gets so much power. When I was bowling, I had to really work for everything I could get to make my ball powerful. But boy, for Wes, he makes it look awfully easy, and that's a very calm and determined, confident young man.
Opening 3-bagger to start match number 2. He opened up with 4 in a row in match 1.
He's got a very unique style, Marcia. If you watch his hand position in slow motion, how it gets to the inside part of the bowling ball, if you were to take that ball and draw a line right down the middle of it, he gets to the inside part of that equator and just kind of flips his hand around it real quick. With that figure 8 swing, it almost looks like it's impossible for him to pull the ball left.
Yeah, it's very unique, and it certainly he's proving that it does work.
There you go, Bill.
Big shot for O'Neill. He's got to make a statement here early. Don't let Malott get too big a lead. So great shot in the 2nd and 3rd. He says, hey, Wes, I'm still here.
This is the 2nd consecutive singles telecast that Bill O'Neill has made. He made 3 in a row earlier this season, but he has gone 71 career events without a title, the 9th longest streak. Down 21 early as we begin the 4th. And Marshall Holman, we want to thank you for joining us live, and glad you were here all week. It's always good to see you.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the big gala party next week down in Vegas.
Save your energy. It's going to be a good week. Bill O'Neill strikes to send Marshall out. We appreciate your time and the conclusion of O'Neill Malott when we return to our live coverage of the Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic. Welcome back to ESPN's live coverage of the PBA. We begin the 6th frame. Bill O'Neill, after that open frame, has reeled off 4 consecutive strikes, looking for 5. And finding 5.
Time, give me a break.
And what a rebound for Bill O'Neill after the open in the 1st frame. And Rob, Bill O'Neill's using a T-Road Pearl. And interestingly enough, both Bill O'Neill and Wes Malott are using balls that are drilled with negative pins, meaning the pin and the CG are left of the grip center.
We continue our recap of the 50 greatest bowlers. Number 39, Mike McGrath. Some guy, Randy Peterson at 35. Attaboy, but I'm still proud of you every time I see that.
Thanks. The General George Pappas, 33rd. Wayne Zahn. The late Jim Godman. David Ozio.
Great names on that list. highlighted by you.
Huge names.
Here's Wes Malott looking for an opening six-pack. Crack it open!
And getting back to the ball layouts that these players are using, it's to try to control the motion down the lane and to keep their balls from rolling too early. Wes Malott is absolutely perfect. And watch this. That's 10 back.
He had 7 strikes in match number 1. Is looking for 7 straight here to open match number 2. Bill O'Neill hanging around despite that open frame in the first. Great match 2 going on here in Medford. Come on, 10!
Just another great shot, ringing 10 for Wes Malott. You see this profile of just a unique style. The 6-pin goes up and around the 10. Now Wes Malott looks to convert. Interestingly enough, if Bill O'Neill strikes out, Wes converts here and strikes out, we have a tie at 279.
Wes Malott has never defended a title in his career. Last year he won here in Medford, defeating rookie Rhino Page, 255-193 in the title match.
And as long as Wes keeps his edge, he's good to go. Remember, in Baltimore against Rhino Page, he starts out with 280. I'm sorry, 290, only to falter in the title match. He got too complacent, too comfortable. Everybody out here on television needs to have an edge to them to compete and make great shots on television.
6 in a row now for O'Neill in search of his first tour title. See the other finishers scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Doug Kent, yet to see him on television at 18. Michael Fagan, 19. Mr. Loschetter at 20. Kenny Simard, hard-throwing Kenny at number 21.
New nickname for Kenny Simard. Paw. P-A-W.
I'll buy that. Last year's Player of the Year, Chris Barnes, checking in at 25. Here's O'Neill as we begin the 8th. Messenger. This will be O'Neill's 7th top 10 finish of the season and his 5th top 5. Remember the great start he got out to the season as we take a look at this effort here in number 8. So that ends a streak of 6 straight strikes for O'Neill. But he stays clean.
It just great recovery after that first shot where he left the 2-4-10. Bill O'Neill 6 in a row and just leaves a flat 10 there. But he's still in this match, only down by 11. He's got his wits about him. He's comfortable now. He's got a good look to the pocket. It's just a matter of making those great quality shots that you have to make on this tough Earl Anthony pattern.
Back on the strike train for Malott. This is the 6th and final stop on the versatility swing, and Wes Malott has more than demonstrated his versatility this season, Randy. He had a 4th, a 3rd, a 1st, a 12th, a 2nd, and a TBD here today. He has bowled well no matter where you are, no matter what you put on the wood, no matter what the weather is, no matter the season. He has been the player of the year in a lot of people's minds, even though he's 2nd to Norm Duke points-wise. And Norm with that huge lead, courtesy of his major win to open up the season in Omaha. Back-to-back jacks now for Malott after that spare that came his way in the 7th.
Sick of seeing you.
It's bad stuff there.
Strike a lot, Malott takes a seat. Bill O'Neill steps up in the 9th. A little heavy.
I like a high.
And that's the one that Bill O'Neill really wanted, because that would have set up the 10th frame for him. A spare here. Striking out in the 10th, Bill O'Neill will shoot 247. Wes Malott is already in the 250s.
There's the spare for O'Neill. You know, he said there's a lot on the line today. Let's see. I need a watch. The trophy happens to be a Rolex. I need a title just to get one. And that title also would get him an invite to the Tournament of Champions next week.
Right now, Rick Lawrence sitting at home in Texas rooting for Wes Malott, because if Bill O'Neill were to win this match, he would knock Rick Lawrence out of the Tournament of Champions.
If O'Neill would win this tournament, not this match.
I'm sorry, this tournament.
Rarely do I get the opportunity to correct you on bowling. So I need to pounce on it, my friend.
Now, his only chance is striking here, and then hoping that Wes Malott opens in the 10th frame. That's the only chance he has. If he doesn't strike on this ball, Wes Malott just has to show up and keep it on the lane.
Eighth strike of the match.
Well, he's bowled a great game, and you know, it's kind of tough when your opponent is shooting 250. Wes can strike out to shoot 279. That's tough to beat on television or during the week in match play. It's tough to beat any time. You know, normally I would say 240 on this pattern, from what I saw this week, would be a winner.
27-year-old O'Neill from Levittown, Pennsylvania, still seeking his first tour title.
Oh, no, get a lot, please.
Did not like that one.
That's right, 9's okay.
Strong outing from O'Neill at 246. But it's most likely not going to be enough to knock off Wes Malott.
Malott needs any mark, and he moves on to face Tommy Jones in the title match.
The number 1 seed, Tommy Jones, waiting in the wings. After this match, though, will be the women's final. Head down, release, and an avoidance of the 10.
He's got to have it. If he misses this, Rob, we have a tie. You can see him starting to migrate more towards the center of the lane, as each ball that goes down the lane takes a little bit of that oil off of the lane, and the players just stay one step in front of the transition. Wes Malott inching more towards the center. Converts the 10. That's a winner. He will move on to face Tommy Jones in the title match.
Tommy Jones, the only bowler who did not make last week's Reno show that made this week's show. O'Neill, Malott, PA, all making both shows. So Malott rolls over Bill O'Neill.
I mean, if you're Bill O'Neill, you've got to feel a little snake bit.
You can give me that one at least once. I got the
Strong outing from O'Neill, not hefty enough to knock off Malott, who wins at 255, 246. The women take to the wood in the final women's series event of the season when we return, and after that, the men's final, commercial-free. Wes Malott taking on Tommy Jones.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. By Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? By CLR. CLR. All kinds of dirty, one kind of clean. And by H&R Block. Go to PBA.com and sign up to win tax services for 5 years and $5,000. H&R Block. You've got people.
About 70 miles from Medford sits beautiful Crater Lake in Crater Lake National Park. Depth of nearly 1,950 feet, the deepest lake in the United States. For more info on things to do in and around Medford, head to visitmedford.org. We welcome you back to Lava Lanes here in Medford, Oregon, as we get set for the PBA Women's Series, presented by the USBC, Stephanie Nation to take on Wendy McPherson. So we continue our top 50 countdown. Check in at number 30, the man we will see next. Today's number 1 seed, Tommy Jones, Del Ballard Jr. Number 29 will have a busy weekend next week in Las Vegas as he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. And we are joined now by 5-time member of Team USA, Shannon O'Keefe, for the women's broadcast. And what are your early thoughts on today's title match?
I'm not going to lie. I think that Wendy definitely has a little bit of an advantage just because of how she can get in and circle a little bit more than Stephanie. I think that the guys before her may have pushed the oil to her break point. So I'm going to give my advantage to Wendy.
Well, the big nasty Wes Malott can move oil quickly whenever he wants.
The high rep rates from the men will blow that oil pattern apart, dry the lanes up, and that forces everybody to move in the center part of the lane. And Shannon, I have to agree with you. Stephanie's strong points are going nice and straight. Wendy McPherson can get in and hook it.
Very high and a tough opening toss for Nation.
That's exactly what you talked about, in that, that track area is fried now, and this ball cuts right through the nose, and she pays the ultimate price, leaving the big 4.
Nation from Arlington, Texas. Step up to try and convert the spare in the first. So a tough start. She makes way for 40-year-old Wendy McPherson from Henderson, Nevada. This is the 4th Women's Series event that she has bowled this season. Her finishes have certainly not been up to her standards. 11th, 11th, 29th, and then today will be a top 2. We asked her to describe her season yesterday. I can't say it on television the way she is.
The thing that people don't know about Wendy is even though she hasn't been out on tour and the ladies tour has been absent for, several years, she's still overseas in Japan and she's winning titles over there. So she still has it. She's still tough. She's a veteran. She's 20 titles, I think, and she's phenomenal. She's going to be tough today. She's the only American rolling in the Japan Pro Bowlers Association. Big tour, big crowds, big money, big status for that tour in Japan. Goes down to 10. But I find, we were talking to her yesterday about all her time in Japan. She splits time with 2 families there, staying in Tokyo and Shizuoka. I got the first part right. I knew I said in the Mount Fuji province. There you go. There's a little thing. But she doesn't eat sushi. Really?
Yeah, doesn't down the sushi. But Kobe beef, that's another story.
Can't say I don't blame her.
Sushi haters.
Hey, I went with you the other day, buddy.
Only because I paid for it.
Did you actually eat it, or did you just watch Randy eat it?
Oh, no, he was right there with it.
I ordered. Still looking for our first strike here in the...
She just cut that one a little short at the bottom. Got a little left off her hand.
And that's easy to do, Shannon. As you know, you competed on this pattern. I mean, a little left or right of target, the ball either goes light or it goes right through the nose. And anytime that you feel that you don't have a lot of room to the right, the tendency is to grab and miss left of target.
Absolutely. And then this pattern on top of that, it's such a low volume that, and then with the guys ahead of her tearing up the fronts and the mids, she's got to really throw some good shots here.
So every time Stephanie Nation has been on the show, she steps up here in a second. We have given you an employment update about her, right? In the beginning of the season, she was looking for a job, and then the next time we saw her, we got her a job as an intern. Good news, folks. She is now a full-time employee at the USBC, working under Steve Klumpkin. She'll be his assistant. He's the technical director there at the USBC. She starts Wednesday. And I just wanted to let Steve know, she'll be home tomorrow. She's actually available to work Tuesday. So if you want to bump up the start date for Stephanie.
Oh, wow. You've done wonders for her career, I'll tell you.
Right. And for many others on this tour.
Stephanie Nation, a member of the Brunswick Pro staff. She's using a Wild Ride, which is one of Brunswick's new balls. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 7 in terms of overall hook, but a really good back-end ball. She looks like she's got a little bit of surface on it, Shannon.
Yeah, I'd probably say maybe 500 to 1,000 surface-wise on it.
And is that just because she's looking for the ball to not be so aggressive in terms of changing direction down the lane, or is it because she wants it to get started a little bit sooner?
I think it's just to help smooth out the back end reaction. Definitely to get it started a little bit sooner and smooth it out.
This is her third title match of the season. This really has been a breakthrough campaign for her. She won the opener in Omaha, finished second in early December in Cheektowaga to Carolyn Doran-Ballard. We begin the third. Down 10 is Nation.
And you know what I see when I see that shot? She leaves the big four to start. That shot there looked like it was just a little bit right of the last shot on this lane, and it just doesn't hook up hard enough. She leaves a shaker 7. So to me, it's like she's bowling in a phone booth where she's got about 2 inches or 2 boards to hit to get her ball to the pocket.
Absolutely. It's kind of what us bowlers would call over-under reaction. If you throw it right, it doesn't hook back to the pocket. If you get a little bit left or move your body a little bit right, you go through the nose.
So when you saw that, what adjustments did you make?
I made big jumps left. And I clearly didn't bowl that great this week, so don't take that advice from me. But
you bowled better than Rob and I did.
So here's Wendy McPherson. Her effort in the third. She's gone 9 spare, 8 spare. Our first strike of the afternoon here in the Women's Series finale. Maybe that'll loosen things up a little bit. I believe that's the head pin rolling all the way over. Flomax player profile focusing in on Wendy McPherson this week. Way right of target.
way right. Gets in the hang spot, no chance.
Wendy, a Team USA members in 08 and 09, something you have been a part of 5 times?
Yep. I'm going into my 5th year. And actually, Stephanie has been on the team with me all 5 years, which is, it's great. We've got a really great team.
And what's next for Team USA?
Actually, this year is a big year for the women. We have the Women's World Championships in Las Vegas, Wendy's hometown. And the last couple World Championships we've bowled, we've finished second in team by 12 pins one year and 7. So we have some business to take care of this year.
Who are the strong other nations out there?
Malaysia's fantastic. Sweden's pretty good. England.
Regardless, good travel.
Yeah.
Nation will finish 3rd in the Women's Series points rankings, regardless of her finish here today.
Oh, way right.
That might be an understatement. Well, Nation hasn't been ducking people in the title matches. Carolyn Doran-Ballard, Michelle Feldman, and now here McPherson. So she's had to earn her keep this year, and she's going to have to earn a tough spare conversion here. She already has 1 open frame. That came in the first. Since then, a pair of spares, and now this effort in the 4th.
Yeah, this first shot by Stephanie looks like she just got a little bit quick and just flew right off her hand. Let's see if she can cover this up.
Great pickup.
Right.
Throw it good, throw it good.
So Nation will start us off here in the 5th. In a moment, we're going to hear from one of the men's finalists, Wes Malott. Randy Peterson has moved into location to talk with him. this place can get quiet when it wants to.
That's a good shot. Oh, give it to her.
Messenger does the job. She drops it all in the 5th. We head over to Randy Peterson with Wes Malott.
Thanks, Rob. Wes, you're looking to win for the second time this season, but you're 0-2 in title matches against your good buddy Tommy Jones. How do you beat him today?
Well, there's something about Medford here that's got me a lot of good luck, so we'll see what happens. The lanes are pretty favorable out there today. We did a pretty good job of beating them up and setting them up, so we'll see what happens.
Thanks, Wes.
It's Wes Malott, Tommy Jones in our men's final. This women's series finale final, and everybody's going wide right here.
Yeah, this match is getting pretty close.
So how do we attack this spare conversion, Shannon?
You can go at it a couple different ways. You can hit to the left side of the head pin, or you can try to... Let's see what she's doing.
Left it is.
Oh, that's a bad break. That's how I would go at it.
First open frame of this match for McPherson. Now a 2-pin match. See her averages this week. Match play, they took a big spike in the positive direction. What's missing?
Just looks like her ball's not picking up in the right spot in the middle part of the lane. It's either firing too far to the right, or it's like skidding right here. It's not quite picking up where it needs to. Not sure if Wendy needs to go maybe a little bit more left, maybe use a little bit more surface. It's tough. It's tough when they're following the guys. It's, I've fought it every week.
Well, the conclusion of our women's final and a live conversation with #1 men's seed Tommy Jones when our live coverage returns to Medford, Oregon. We welcome you back to Medford, Oregon, and ESPN's continuing live coverage of the PBA. We are set for the conclusion of the PBA Women's Series, and you see those towels being waved in the crowd. They are commemorative PBA 50th anniversary towels, and you can buy them at PBA.com. The proceeds from the sale of each towel go to great causes supported by the Bowling Foundation, causes like the fight against breast cancer, scholarships, and benefits for veterans, among others. Take a look at 20 through 11 in our greatest bowler countdown, and any names that jump out to you there, Shannon?
Well, Johnny Petraglia, I was fortunate enough to bowl with him in the Ladies and Legends tournament this summer and was paired up with him, and he is just a class act. He is just fantastic. He still has it. He's still going strong.
Great bowler, legendary broadcaster Bo Burton checking in at number 15 as well, and we check back in with the Women's Series final here. This is the conclusion of the Women's Series presented by the USBC, and Stephanie Nation, an employee of the USBC, full-time as of Wednesday.
She actually is going to be right next to where I sit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, office space over there.
Could be trouble.
Some long lunch breaks I'm sensing in Arlington.
That's a good shot. Yes, she needed that
Nation with the strike, and we send it over to the practice lanes. Randy live with #1 seed Tommy Jones.
Well, Rob, this season's been a bit of a struggle for this former player of the year, but Tommy, today you're the #1 seed. What's been the difference this week?
Well, my swing got a little, it got real steep, and now it's not quite as steep, and things are working in the right direction. So I try to chop this big old tree down behind me here.
Thanks, Tommy.
Big old tree. Strike a lot, Malott. The big nasty or the big old tree. The nicknames keep growing when you have a good season.
That was a pretty good shot. She's definitely dialing in here. She looks like she's getting a little more comfortable. She's calming down a little bit.
A commercial break really served her well.
Absolutely.
Again, she won the first Women's Series event this year in Omaha, the Pepsi Viper Championship, where she took down Michelle Feldman, 225-200. It's going to be tough for her to get another 225 here today. another spare to go with her 2 strikes and 1 open frame in the title match. She takes a seat. And Wendy McPherson steps up in the 7th, coming off a 9 spare. McPherson just 1 strike in this match, came in the 3rd frame, and she had an open frame 8 in the 5th. Nation has her confidence peaking right now. McPherson needs a little boost in that department.
It's a much better shot.
That Messenger hit the accelerator but was wide of target.
Wendy McPherson, member of the Columbia Pro staff, and you can see that her ball's trying to face the pocket, but because her rev rate's not nearly as high as a Bill O'Neill or a Wes Malott, she leaves the lead 10. So she's got to somehow find a way to get that bowling ball to face the pocket a little bit sooner and a little stronger.
That's right. Do not skate on thin ice.
I'm out of control.
Man, I lost my breath there for a moment.
I think everybody in the building did.
Yeah, I don't think Wendy was trying to cut it quite that far on the right.
By the way, did you guys miss me?
I'm sorry, were you gone?
Oh.
Excellent interviews, Randy. I know we need to massage that ego once a segment. There you go, buddy.
That's a good look.
Man. The men's final in its entirety coming up after this women's final. Wes Malott, Tommy Jones. Really had high expectations for Tommy Jones coming into the season, and this will be his first televised appearance. Wendy McPherson, no stranger to bowling under the lights.
That one, no problem.
Yeah. Lesson learned. Both these women have qualified for the Women's Series Showdown. And you can see ESPN's presentation of that Sunday, April 12th, 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN. Nation with 2 strikes in her last 3 frames. Here she is in the 8th.
It's a good shot.
There we go. Her 3rd strike of the match. Randy, get the keys. Fire up the RV.
Okay.
All right, go RV and on the road next week. Viva Las Vegas, the Red Rock Resort and Lanes for the H&R Block Tournament of Champions. Live coverage at a different time, 12:30 Eastern. The following week, we are in Reno, Nevada, the National Bowling Stadium for the Don and Paula Carter Mixed Doubles Championship. Sunday, February 1st at 2 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday. Back-to-back jacks for Nation.
She got a leaner there, buddy. That's for a big double late in the game.
And she is fired up. This has been a Cinderella year for her. She's really, really come into her own.
Really a breakout year for her. Watch the 6 just lean on the 10 for a big double, and how about that react?
McPherson needed that desperately.
Yeah, it's must strike now for Wendy McPherson. 3 more in the 10th. She'll shoot 199, but Stephanie Nation is in the low 200s right now. Wendy needs to do more of this right here in the 10th frame to give herself a shot at winning this.
And she has yet to string any strikes together this title match. Strikes in the 3rd and the 9th, but an open frame 5th. Time to start stringing them, Wendy.
Just when it looked like that ball had no chance to strike, it looked like she got a little quick and a little fast. She tickles the 7 late. One more shot, one more strike. She still has an outside chance of winning this.
One more strike. 2 more strikes and a 199. Yes, again.
Really good shot, actually. The pins didn't fall that great, but she threw a good shot.
How did that 10 fall like that? What hit it? Nice shot, Wendy McPherson. You don't win 20 titles on the ladies' tour without having some skill and getting a break now and then. That gives her a chance. She'd like all 10 right here to give her 199, and that would make Stephanie Nation go 9 spare 9 to win by 1.
Come on, Shannon, say it with me. Atta girl, welcome to the booth. Proud moment in your career.
He's already corrupted you.
It doesn't take much.
Poor Shannon.
What are you saying?
So here's a look at the previous PBA Women's Series Showdown events and the qualifiers. We'll move on, and the Women's Series Showdown, again, coverage Sunday, April 12th, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Wendy in because Stephanie already in, courtesy of her victory in Omaha. Pressure on the Nation in the 10th.
Wide, look out.
Way wide, but a dual
Game
spare.
over. If she doesn't cover this, I'm sorry, no, it's done.
That's it.
That's game over.
Nobody,
best she can shoot is 198.
Yeah.
Nobody is better with the bowling calculus than my partner, Randy Peterson. Nobody. Give him an abacus, he can still bang it out. This is a shocker. I mean, Wendy McPherson just kind of staggered her way to the beginning of this match, but strung together a closing ham bone for a 199 to earn her first title of the season. One I don't think she was expecting when she sat down.
She did what every great champion does. She struck out to give herself a chance, put all the pressure on her opponent.
And that's definitely the place you want to put yourself in.
Shannon, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having
Wendy
me, guys.
McPherson, congratulations. When we return, an Earl Anthony flashback. We welcome you back to Medford, Oregon, and ESPN's continuing live coverage of the Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic here at Lava Lanes. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson with you, and we flash back to 1983, another great Earl Anthony moment, the PBA National Championship in Toledo. This would be his 3rd straight National Championship victory as he defeated Mike Durbin 210 to 183. Where will Earl Anthony be on the final list of the all-time greatest bowlers? It's going to be either number 1 or number 2. Number 10, though, was Parker Bone III. 31 career titles, 1 major for the lefty from New Jersey. Always good to see Parker's smooth swing on the show.
Played a 300 game on national television in Reno.
The man who joined us earlier in the broadcast, Medford native Marshall Holman at number 9.
Marshall had one of the prettiest styles and forms you ever wanted to watch on television.
26 tour titles for number 8, Don Johnson.
Coco, the Kokomo Kid. Who can forget the 299 he bowled in the title match at the 1970 TFC?
And next week, number 7, Norm Duke looks for his 4th consecutive major victory.
Norm Duke approaching $3 million in career earnings.
Number 6, Mike Aulby. 29 career titles, 8 majors.
The smooth-stroking lefty from Indianapolis.
Number 5, Mark Roth joined us earlier this season in Baltimore.
Absolutely dominated the tour in the late 70s.
Number 4, Pete Weber. Yet to see him on television this season. Let's hope that changes sooner rather than later.
Arguably the greatest physical talent to ever throw a ball.
And the man above him on the list, his father, Dick Weber.
The greatest ambassador the sport has ever known, right there.
Who will be number 1, Walter Ray Williams Jr. or Earl Anthony? We'll let you know next week. And over the first 6 events of the second half of this season, PBA players have been competing in a separate point list sponsored by H&R Block. H&R Block West Coast Swing Point List. There's a look at the updated list. And we'll take a look now at our Geico Championship recap.
So easy, even I can do it, Rob. Match number 1, the Big Nasty taking down Patrick Allen, 234 to 195. And in match number 2, Bill O'Neill looking for his first win, denied by Wes Malott. Wes starts with the front 6, shoots 255, and beats Bill O'Neill.
When we return, how bowling poorly has helped that man. Today's number 1 seed, Tommy Jones. The men's final in its entirety next.
The Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour on ESPN is brought to you by Etonic, the official footwear of the PBA. By Denny's, where America's favorite breakfast is now available to go. Real breakfast 24/7. By Bayer Aspirin. Bayer, expect wonders. And by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood flooring for less.
This the 37th PBA Tour stop in Oregon. We are in Medford. Updated look at our stepladder bracket for the Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic. Number 3 seed, Wes Malott, to take on 1 seed, Tommy Jones, in our men's final. There is Wes Malott, 234, 195 over Patrick Allen in match number 1, and then a 255, 246 victory over Bill O'Neill. In that match, 8 strikes, including the first 6. And before we start this, we want to give a quick shout out to our good friend Dave Jones, our technical manager here. Very wisely felt some chest pains driving to the airport to come out here to Medford and said, you know what, let's not risk it. Turned around, drove himself to a Dallas hospital where they found out he was actually going through a heart attack.
Still not going to let me go,
talked to him yesterday. Word is he's going to be released from the hospital today. So, Dave, hang in there. Can't wait to see you back out here on the tour.
We're all thinking about you, Jonesy. Get well soon, buddy.
And learn from that, folks. If you got some chest pain, take a Bayer aspirin and get your tail to the hospital stat. Don't man up on it. All right, I'm off my soapbox now.
Huge matchup. And that's the largest ATM machine I've ever seen right there. Because that's what it's been like for Wes Malott this season.
The big ATM to open us up. He has started off each one of his matches with the strike today. Quick starts have been part of this push for him this season as we take a look at the big picture of our title match between these two. 44 career TV finals between them.
Tommy Jones has got the highest winning percentage ever on television. Wes Malott is 0-2 against Tommy Jones in title matches.
Jones way heavy on this opening toss. And he is eyeballing an open frame here in the first.
Well, it's been a while for Tommy. He hasn't been on television since last March. Those first shot blues, Wes Malott's got momentum in his corner. He's loose. You know, early on, when you're tight, you want to just try to avoid the big open frames. Good news for Tommy, comes in the first frame. And he still has a relatively good chance at making the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
Not even close. So he opens with a 7. Last time Jones was on television, you mentioned late March 23rd, the 08 Geico Classic in Long Island, a tournament he won. He defeated Walter Ray Williams Jr., Tommy DeLuce Jr., Pete Weber. 12 tour titles, 2 majors, won 2 titles last season. Better shot, but not quite there yet.
Tommy Jones, a member of the Ebonite Pro staff. He's using a 1 Pro, which is a very strong ball on a scale of 1 to 10. It's about a 9. It's a shiny pearl, clean through the front part of the lane with a strong back end. Right now, Tommy Jones just trying to catch his breath and get comfortable, trying to avoid back-to-back open frames.
And he does not.
Start.
Take a look at our H&R Block second look, and Wes Malott.
And this is where Wes was to start this telecast. This is his first ball in the left lane to start this title match. A good 10 to 12 boards left of where we started today.
Malott in the second.
Oh, no.
Does not like it. And gets away with it.
The defending champ's got stuff going his way right now and taking huge advantage of back-to-back open frames from Tommy Jones. This is wide right. He doesn't even know if this is going to hit the head pin. It gets back and he trips the 2-8. The 2-pin goes down late, and he's like, what a gift. Remember what happened the last time we saw Wes Malott in a title match. He got a little relaxed, a little complacent, and lost his edge. And Rhino Page beat him in the 10th frame.
Again, Malott, the defending champion here in Medford, has never defended a title in his 7-year career.
Slow down.
If anything, that looked like that was going to be a strike rather than his effort in the second. Malott opened up match 1 with 4 straight strikes, match 2 with 6. The title match is limited to an opening 2 strikes, but Tommy Jones has been open frame.
It's amazing what pressure does to people in a title match of the Earl Anthony, or the tournament named after Earl Anthony. A lot of pressure, a lot at stake. The money, the trophy, another title. Makes people do crazy things, Rob.
Still can't find a strike, and it was a really rough start to the season for Tommy Jones, and he told us, it made me better because I bowled so poorly and I was so frustrated that I started putting in more practice time, and I kind of got that mental focus back to where it should have been.
Well, the other thing he got was he got some great instruction from Mark Baker. Mark Baker, an ex-touring pro, was out here for many years, PBA champion. I believe Mark won 3 titles. But Mark has become one of the best coaches in America, and he got Tommy on the Ebonite Digitrax. They focused in on his swing, and his swing was just getting too steep up and down, which was making Tommy grab it a lot at the bottom of the swing. He went back from 15 to 16 pounds, got a swing flatter, had a good week last week, and here he is as your #1 seed.
There we go, Tommy. It took him till the 4th, but he gets his first strike of this match. Our thanks to that man, Rick Donnelly, the proprietor here at Lava Lanes. Does a great job every year when the tour comes to town. This town really embraces it. And it's more than just this town. People travel a long distance to get here.
And it's because of all the hard work that Rick and his people do here at Lava Lanes.
Strike for the title match.
Speaking of chopping trees down, Wes Malott just chopped the 10 down.
Timber! Malott and Jones having some fun.
I got one of Tommy's hits.
At each other's expense back there. 2 good friends.
Come on, Wes.
2 good friends, tour roommates, along with Dino Castillo. They're on some type of weird rotation.
Gotta roll it.
It was explained to us that, 1 week it's Tommy and Wes, then the next week it's Dino and Tommy, then the next, one guy gets a week by himself back. It's weird.
What was it this week, do you know?
I don't know what the living arrangements were this week. I don't know if
you rolled it.
I don't think Wes was rooming with Tommy this week. Wes may have been by himself, and it may have been Tommy and Dino, but I don't have the 411 on that.
Dial it up a little bit later. So Malott looking to convert his second spare here, this title match. Again, we are with you for the entirety of this men's championship match from Medford. The Bear Earl Anthony Medford Classic. Again, next week, we head to Las Vegas for the Tournament of Champions, the second major of this season.
Right now, if you're Tommy Jones, you got to say, wow, Wes just gave me an opening. I need to step up right now and throw 2 strikes and cut this lead to 13 and put a little heat on Wes Malott.
Working off his only strike of this match so far. Yes!
I mean, there's stuff flying, brother.
The PBA and H&R Block have teamed together on a great new promotion for PBA fans. Just go to PBA.com, sign up to win tax services for 5 years and a $5,000 H&R Block Emerald prepaid MasterCard. H&R Block, the official tax services provider of the PBA. H&R Block, you've got people. Tommy Jones has got 2 strikes in a row. The chance to make it 3 here in the 6th.
Blast, Tommy. What is that? Throw it like you used to bowl.
He's frustrated in that he threw this one poorly left of target and no chance of staying on line, and he's obviously upset. He knew the situation. He could cut into that lead of Wes. Wes is, and now it's just a 25-pin deficit. However, he could have cut the lead to 13, and it's all about keeping pressure on your opponent at this point in time and making Wes think about something other than throwing it at the target he's looking at.
So Malott, at the end of the day, regardless if he wins or doesn't, is your new Player of the Year points leader. And he's heading towards career victory number 5 and number 2 for the season. He won the CLR Carmen Salvino Scorpion Championship earlier in Vernon Hills, just outside of Chicago, where he took down Kenny Samard. He's also had a 3rd place finish twice, a 4th, 1 runner-up.
He's the master at working that tape, too. He's got a little pocket knife in his pocket, flipping that tape in there. He just went to that ball. It's the same ball he was using before with a weaker layout to try to get it through the front cleaner and still have some energy left in the back part of the lane.
This is 3rd consecutive singles televised appearance. In 2005, he made 4 in a row at one point. 4 in a row this season would be the TOC next weekend.
And just a little too soft down the lane, otherwise that ball kicks the 10 out. Right now for Wes Malott, you know he's in a good spot. He's hitting the pocket. He's just trying to fine-tune it to knock all 10 down, and he can do that because of the lead that he has. And unless Tommy Jones can mount some type of strike attack, Wes Malott can just pretty much put it in cruise control.
But as you mentioned earlier today, cruise control is a dangerous place to be driving. Just keep on going. Keep that accelerator going. Keep your hands, where is it supposed to be? 2 and 8, something like that. Driver's ed, what is that?
I think it's 10 and 2.
10 and 2?
Don't quote me on it.
I know it's not 6 and 6 with your pinky. Needed strike for Jones. His 3rd of the match comes in the 7th.
And if we could get a replay of that shot, just the pins, you can see just how fast the 6 snaps the 10 out, and that's just because of the pure power of Tommy Jones. Watch this roll and this perfect entry angle. That bowling ball just hits that 1-3 perfectly, and the 6 goes to the sidewall and just chops the 10 out. He would like to continue that streak all the way to the 10th frame. If he strikes out 8th, 9th, and 10th, Robbie shoots 224.
We saw in the women's series finale earlier. What a late string of strikes can do for you, as Wendy McPherson won her first title this season with 4 in a row to conclude. Jones in the 8th. Yes! Still alive!
And a much better shot on that lane. You saw his balance. When he let go of the bowling ball, he was perfectly balanced, and that almost always leads to a well-executed shot. Watch this. Eyes stay on the target, balanced, shreds the rack. All of a sudden, he's creeping back into this match.
Again, Jones started with a pair of open frames. Malott looking for strike 5. Drop and give me 10.
That's a bad mammal. Bad mammal.
Strike a lot, Malott. The defending champion here in Medford.
Eyes down at the floor when he releases it. He looks right down at the foul line. Very unique and unusual way that he targets. He lines up with his right foot, imagines the ball going over the same spot right at the foul line that he's standing on. He looks at the break point. As he starts to go, he pulls his target back to the foul line.
Let's just say that's not how they teach you at the bowling camps. And he responds to Jones' series of strikes with a string of his own. He is having a wonderful season.
Boy, and I'll tell you what, just when it looked like he was going to let Tommy Jones back into this match, not so fast, my friend.
I hear you, Coach Corso.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Jones looking for 3 in a row. And Malott is that much closer.
Wow. How does that get that far down there so fast?
Well, this match is mathematically over as long as Wes Malott knocks down some pins in the 10th frame, because right now with a spare, the best Tommy Jones can shoot is 201. Wes Malott is already in the 2 teens. Just needs good count. Stay behind the foul line and good count. Wes Malott is going to win for the 2nd time this season.
So we begin the 10th with Jones.
And I know Tommy's disappointed.
Throw it harder.
But it certainly gives him a lot to build on.
Throw it harder.
I think he's on the right track with Coach Mark Baker in that he feels now that he can be a factor again. I mean, we talked earlier in the season, and Tommy was like, man, it really stinks not being able to compete out here. And he worked very hard over the break or during the break. And I think this is a great building platform for Tommy Jones to get back to his winning ways.
Well, it's a great time to have momentum as you head into a major weekend.
Yeah.
Vegas and the Tournament of Champions at Red Rock Lanes and Casino. Practice begins Tuesday. They bowl Wednesday. Live coverage next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern.
Remember, we still have 3 majors the rest of the season.
Backloaded. Good conclusion for Jones, and a good week for him. A much-needed confidence-boosting week. 2nd place finish, easily his best finish of the year. Prior, it was the 5th place spot in Lake County. His worst, a 53rd in the Scorpion Championship. So he's been all over the place. Here is Wes Malott, 8 pins away from tour title number 5. He is your back-to-back champion in Medford.
What a season Wes Malott is having. Boy, this certainly puts an exclamation point behind his season thus far, doesn't it? A little roar right at the pins.
First time he's defended a crown in his career. Starting to string them together now for the fans. And he told us there's something about this place. I don't know what it is, but the pins fall down when I'm here in Medford. 3rd year in a row he's been on television here. Finished 3rd 2 years ago, won it last year, and wins it again this year. Did you ever have a town, a city that was just kind of Randy's place where you always seem to do better than others?
No.
You guys have been unbelievable.
Actually, you know what? I always pulled really well in Vegas at the Showboat. I never went one back-to-back there, but...
239-201, Wes Malott, Tour title number 5, and he is your new leader atop the Player of the Year points list. Another watch, another Rolex
to make a
for the Big Nasty.
These are awesome. Guys at home, love you guys. You're awesome. Everybody. Medford is the place to be.
Malott closed with 5 consecutive strikes to give him his 5th Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour title. Next week, our coverage takes us to Las Vegas. The H&R Block Tournament of Champions. Norm Duke goes after an unprecedented 4th consecutive major title. And folks, he is dialed in and ready to do that. The Duke shows up for majors. Watch out, Wes. Watch out, everybody else. You may not have seen much of Norm lately. You know he's going to be strong in Vegas. Wes Malott wins again in Medford. For Randy Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Rob Stone. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Wes Malott on top of the PBA right now. We'll see you next week in Vegas.